Hello friends, I am your maths faculty from QLS Academy. We were studying the topic statistics. So in this session, let us proceed further. I hope you will have fun learning. So friends, in the previous session, we discussed about the basics of statistics. Now in this session, we will solve some problems to understand the concept of mean by solving a problem. So our first problem says that the marks obtained by 30 students of class 10th of a certain school in a mathematics paper consisting of 100 marks are presented in a table. So, find the mean of the marks obtained by the students. अब हमारे पास एक टेबल है. Recall that to find the mean marks, we require the product of each xi, that is each data item, with the corresponding frequency fi, that is the number of times that data item is occurring. So, let us put this product of fi xi in a column as shown in this next table. Now, we know that our formula for mean is x over bar equal to sigma of fi xi divided by sigma fi. So, we have 1779 divided by 30 equal to 59.3. Therefore, the mean marks obtained is 59.3 in this case. Now, in most of our real life situations, data is usually so large that to make a meaningful study, it needs to be condensed as group data. So, we need to convert given ungrouped data into group data and find some method to find its mean. So, let us convert the ungrouped data of our problem into group data by forming class intervals of width, say 15. Now, remember that while allocating frequencies to each class interval, students falling in any upper class limit would be considered in the next class according to the exclusive rule. For example, 4 students who have obtained 40 marks would be considered in the class interval 40 to 55 and not in 25 to 40. This is in accordance with the exclusive form we learned in the previous session. So, with this convention in our mind, let us now form a grouped frequency distribution table. Now, for each class interval, we require a point which would serve as the representative of the whole class. It is assumed that the frequency of each class interval is centered around its midpoint. So, the midpoint, also known as the class mark of each class, can be chosen to represent the observations falling in the class. Recall that we find the midpoint of a class or its class mark by finding the average of its upper and lower limits. That is, class mark is equal to upper class limit plus lower class limit divided by 2. Now, with reference to our table, for the class 10 to 25, the class mark is 10 plus 25 by 2, that is 17.5. Similarly, we can find the class marks of other remaining class intervals. अब इस केस में, since we are considering group data, these class marks become our xi's. Now, in general, for the ith class interval, we have the frequency fi corresponding to the class mark xi. We can now proceed to compute the mean in the same manner as in the previous case we discussed. So, the sum of the values in the last column gives us sigma fi xi. So, the mean, that is x over bar of the given data, is given by x over bar is equal to sigma fi xi divided by sigma fi, which is equal to 1860 divided by 30, that is 62. Now, this new method of finding the mean is known as the direct method, in which we work on group data. We observe that although both the tables are using the same data and employing the same formula for the calculation of the mean, but the results obtained are different. First case mein mean was 59.3 and second case, in which we use direct method, the value of mean is 62. Can you think why this is so and which one is more accurate? The difference in the two values is because of the midpoint assumption in the second table, 59.3 being the exact mean while 62 an approximate mean. Sometimes when the numerical values of xi and fi are large, finding the product of xi and fi becomes tedious and time consuming. So, for such situations, let us think of a method of reducing these calculations. We can do nothing with the fi's, but we can change each xi to a smaller number so that our calculations become easy. And how do we do this? What about subtracting a fixed number from each of these xi's? So, let us try this method. Now, the first step is to choose one among the xi's as the assumed mean and denote it by a. Also, to further reduce our calculation work, we may take a to be that xi which lies in the center of our data items x1, x2, x3 and so on up to xn. So, we can choose A is equal to 47.5 or A is equal to 62.5. So let us choose A is equal to 47.5. Now the second step is to find the difference di between A and each of the xi's, that is the deviation of A from each of the xi's, that is di is equal to xi minus A, which is equal to xi minus 47.5. The third step is to find the product of di with the corresponding fi and take the sum of all the fi di's. Now the mean of the deviation will be d over bar equal to sigma fi di divided by sigma fi. Now guys, there is an important relation between d over bar and x over bar, that is x over bar is equal to a plus d over bar. I repeat, x over bar is equal to a plus d over bar. So x over bar can be written as a plus sigma fi di upon sigma fi. Now substituting the values of a, sigma fi di and sigma fi from our table, we get x over bar is equal to 47.5 plus 435 divided by 30, which is equal to 62. Therefore, the mean of the marks obtained by the students is 62. This method we just discussed is called the assumed mean method, since हमने यहाँ पर mean assume किया. Now I want you to note that this method we just discussed is called the assumed mean method, since हमने यहाँ A को assume किया था. Now I want you to note that the value of the mean obtained does not depend on the choice of A. Now let ui is equal to xi minus A by h, where A is the assumed mean and h is the class size. Now we will calculate ui in this way and continue as before, that is find fiui and then sigma fiui. Taking h is equal to 15, that is the class size, let us form a table. Now let u over bar be equal to sigma fiui upon sigma fi. Here again let us find the relation between u over bar and x over bar. Now we know that ui is equal to xi minus a upon h. Then we put this formula of ui in the formula of u over bar. So we get h into u over bar equal to x over bar minus a. I repeat, h into u over bar equal to x over bar minus a, that is x over bar equal to a plus h into u over bar. Now substituting the value of a, h, sigma fiui and sigma fi from our table, we get x over bar, which can also be called as x bar, equal to 47.5 plus 15 into 29 by 30, that is 62. So the mean marks obtained by a student is x bar is equal to 62. The method we just discussed is called the step deviation method. So in this session we learnt about the concept of mean and how mean is found using direct method, assumed mean method and step deviation method. I hope you had fun learning. For any information or queries, you may visit the link following the video. Thank you.